Hi Year 11, how are you today? Thank you for doing the Zoom conference call today. We're looking at doing an example on finding a cubic equation. Okay, so this is the last little bit for the exercise I sent you last lesson. So let's have a look at finding a cubic equation. Now what I'd like you to do is to copy down the heading, and I want you to copy down the question. And you don't have to wait for me to do the question. You can actually pause the video and see if you can do it yourself. But I'll be working through this solution now. So let's have a look. Find the equation of the cubic function y equals kx cubed plus c, right, if it passes through 0, 16 and 4, 0. Now, straight away, without too much thinking, I'm going to try and get a picture of what this looks like. Now, this is y equals x cubed, okay? Something like that. That's y equals x cubed, okay? So y equals kx cubed is going to look something like that. And the plus c just moves that curve up a little bit. So maybe it's like that. So that'll be y equals x cubed plus c. So that's the kind of thing we're looking at. So we're basically looking at finding the equation of something like this. Okay? So let's have a look. They give us two conditions. 0, 16 and 4, 0 as points on the curve. So I'm just going to sub those in. So this point here at x equals 0, y equals 16. X equals 0, y equals 16. That satisfies that equation. So I'm going to substitute into that, right? So I'm going to get, here's my equation, kx cubed plus c. So I'm going to put y equals 16 in there. So I get 16 equals, x is 0, so that's going to be 0 there, plus c. Okay, so that gives me c is equal to 16, alright? Now, I can update my equation. So therefore, y equals kx cubed plus 16. Okay? Now you could have observed as well that c is the y-intercept. So c is there, and this is the y-intercept. So you could have just gone, look, c is 16. You could have written this down straight away without doing the working out. Okay? Now, the next thing they tell you is that 4, 0 lies on the line. So when x is 4, y is 0. So I'm going to sub in sub x equals 4, y equals 0 into this equation, okay, into y equals kx cubed plus 16. So, that gives you 0 for the y, 4 for the x, so you're going to get k times 4 cubed, so I want to just write that a little bit neater there. That is a k, plus 16. Okay, now 0 equals. Now what's 4 cubed? 4 4s are 16. 16 times 4 is 64, so that's 64k plus 16. Alright, now that's an equation we can solve. I'll write it up again here. Okay, so we then take 16, that gives you negative 16 equals 64k, and then divide both sides by 16. So you're going to have, by 64, should I say, 64. Cancel. So k equals negative 16 on 64. You can simplify that. So get your calculator out or think of what goes into 16 and 64. Well, 16 is actually a multiple of 64, isn't it? How many 16s go into that? So 48, it's going to be 4, isn't it? So you're going to get minus a quarter, okay? Or you can do it the long way and go, look, 8's going to there 2 times, 8 goes into there 8 times, you still get negative a quarter, whichever way you do it. I don't mind. Just use your calculator, it's probably quicker. Now you can update your equation. So, therefore, what can I say? Y equals negative a quarter x cubed plus 16. So if I was to draw a sketch of that, okay, now negative, this is negative, yep, so I'm starting here, finishing there, and positive 16 is where I go through. So maybe it looks like something like this. There we go. And I'm just going to put that as 16. That's it. Okay, rough sketch, of course, but that's what it looks like. Okay, now copy all of that down, and then we're going to do one last question to see how the next question works. Let's have a look. So I'm just going to rub this out. Okay, so question number 2. Let's have a look. Question number 2, we've got find the equation of the cubic function. Okay, that's an N there. Function f of x equals k x minus a, x minus b, x minus c, if it has x-intercepts of -1, 3, 4, and passes through 112. Okay. Now copy that question down. Now, if you looked at the last lesson, we did look at this in a fair amount of detail. This is a cubic, and it has x-intercepts at A, B, and C. So here's your possibilities. You could have a cubic like this, or you could have a cubic like this, right? Now, either way, that equation has intercepts at A, B, C. A, B, C. Okay? Rightio. So, now we know that. We're going to say x-intercept at -1, we'll call that A. X-intercept at 3, call that 3. This is obviously not to scale. And x-intercept at 4. Okay? So -1, 3, and 4. Okay, so those are two possibilities. Now, let's sub that into the equation. So you've got f of x equals. Now, we don't know what k is. We don't know what k is, so we've still got to write that down. We do know what a is. A is -1. So I'm going to put in -1. Okay, which will become positive, won't it? B is 3. So x minus 3. And then C is 4. So x minus 4. So we get k x plus 1, x minus 3, x minus 4. And that's equal to f of x. There's my equation. The only thing you've got left to do is to find out k. Now if you go back to the question, we've already used that. We've already used these three, all done. We haven't used this. So the graph, the cubic passes through 112. So I'm going to sub in x equals 1, y equals 12. Alright, so sub x equals 1, y equals 12 into f of x. Okay? So therefore, now this is your f of x, isn't it? So I could have put this as f of x. So therefore, 12 is equal to k. Now it says x is 1. 1 plus 1 is 2. 1 minus 3, negative 2. 1 minus 4, negative 3. Okay, it's from substitution. Now 2 times, let's do the positive. Negative 2 times negative 3 is positive 6. Times 2 is 12. So you've got k times 12 there. And without too much thinking, k must be 1. 1 times 12 is 12. So k equals 1. Right? And that means your final answer is, therefore, f of x equals 1, brackets, x plus 1, x minus 3, x minus 4. Okay, so that's your final answer. Alright, so copy that down. Sorry if I stood in the way of the whiteboard there. I'm getting used to standing side on a bit more now so you can see everything. By the way, that last answer, you don't need the 1 there, of course. Get rid of the 1. Only put something there if it's not 1. Okay? You don't need the 1 there. So that's your final answer. And that is all there is to it. Okay, so the questions I want you to do in your textbook are 6.02. Not 6. That's wrong, sorry. 3.12. Text is running out. Missed that one. Now, questions I want you to do are question 11 and question 12. You can do all of those questions for practice, okay? So I'll drop that out, 3.112 from your textbook. Okay, that's it for today, and next lesson we'll start something else. All right.